The first step is to get real about your motivation and your pace. Get real about your pace. How many of you use MapQuest? Okay, I love MapQuest, except when I first used it, I would always, I'd put in where I wanted to go, and then I'd push the buttons, and I'd get an error message because I hadn't put in where I'd started. I just said, I want to go here. How do I get there? And the computer would say, hey, look, you've got to put in where you're starting. And a lot of us see certain things, see a certain way of life, and we go, I want to go there. I want to be that. I want to have this deep relationship with God. I want to be the calm person. I want to be the wise person. And yet, we have to figure out where we're starting. How busy are you? I had to sit down with my calendar at one point because I realized I was involved in 3 different ministries at church. I was on the PTA, I was coaching my daughter's soccer team, and I was working part-time. And I had 2 little kids. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. I had to write it all out, make a list of what I was doing. Because I thought, well, I'm not that busy. Everybody's busy. We have to know where we're starting. And to get real about our motivation. Because I think a lot of us, we talked about this today at lunch for those of you who were there, but what is it that keeps us so busy and so driven? I think a lot of times it's a quest for significance. If we're busy, we're important, right? In our culture, if you're busy, you're somebody who gets things done and you are important. If you say you're not busy, well then what? You're not important, Our value does not lie in our accomplishments, although accomplishments are a good thing, but they're not what gives us value. Your value lies in the fact that God loves you. Whether you love him back or not, it doesn't matter. He still does. You may not believe in him, but he believes in you. So, but is your motive to please people, to get them to notice you? Because that's an okay thing to want, significance. But that's not the right method for getting there. So we have to figure out, okay, how hurried is my life? How busy am I? How many things have I said yes to when perhaps I should not have said yes to all those things? Now, we can't say no to everything, but we can choose more carefully the things that we say yes and no to. We have this restlessness, and the antidote for that restlessness is resting. Now, a lot of times when I feel restless, I think, I'm really restless, I got to go do something. But if we're restless, we need more rest. We need to rest. And first we have to figure out how fast we're going and then begin, what can we say no to? What can we say no to? As we go through this idea of Sabbath simplicity, as we commit to a lifestyle that is going to change slowly over time, not just all at once. Because I don't know, how many of you have ever done the crash diet where you eat cabbage and soup for a week or something? And you maybe lose a lot of weight, but then it all comes back, right? Because you haven't committed to changing your lifestyle. I think slowing the pace of your life is the same thing. For a lot of people, they're used to running so quickly that when they sit still, I have a friend, love her dearly. She has 5 kids, they're all in a bunch of activities. When she sits still for too long, we went to see a play or something, and she loved it for about 5 minutes, and then she fell asleep. Because when you sit still, you fall asleep. It's what happens. It's a journey. Commit to the journey and let go of perfectionism. I think one of the most important things that Sabbath has a tendency to take a day of rest. For some reason, it lends itself to legalism. Some of you maybe grew up in a culture where there was a sort of Sabbath legalism. Jesus confronted Sabbath legalism. And yet, so we have to let go of perfectionism. There's no such thing as a perfect Sabbath. But over time, working towards Sabbath simplicity will change your life. Okay, so we're going to get real about our motivation. We're going to rest. Second thing is to value relationships over tasks. To value relationships over tasks. Now, there are always tasks that need to happen, right? There's things that need to get done. And when I say a Sabbath simplicity life, I do not mean one where we rest 7 days a week. Sabbath is so good, I'm just going to do it 24/7. We're back again. No, it's where we engage fully in the work that God has given us to do, whether that work in this season is taking care of small children, caring for an aging parent, doing something in the workplace, working somehow out of your home, whatever it is. But we also have to value relationships. And to take a day away from the tasks allows us to do that. You know, the Sabbath commandment flows out of God's desire to connect with us. He just says, I want to just be with you. Just presence. Just to be in his presence. Value relationships over task. This allows us, you know, that isolation we have, it provides a place to reconnect. Sabbath Simplicity is about reconnecting. And the practice of Sabbath itself is so rooted in the Old Testament that it reconnects, Sabbath reconnects us with other people, but it also reconnects us with the roots of our faith. I love the story in Exodus of the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, and Moses is leading them, and everything's great for like a couple days, and they actually, you know, they get across the sea, and the, you know, horses drown and all that. And then it says, the text says that, that the people start grumbling. They start grumbling. And then it's actually, if you want to read something funny, like read about the manna and quail in Exodus. I won't read it to you. But they start grumbling about, you know, oh, we're going to die out here in the wilderness. What are you doing? And you should have just let us die in Egypt. At least we wouldn't die of hunger, that sort of thing. And then they get into an argument about whether they're grumbling against God or against Moses. It's actually sort of funny. But what God responds to their grumbling by providing, which is really gives us a glimpse into the heart of God, doesn't he? And he provides manna, which is this, it says it was like, the name manna means what is it? Which I think is funny too. But it was like wafers with honey, and it would fall like snow in the morning. And the children of Israel were told, the people were told to gather up how much? Enough for that day. And here is the first, you know, we heard about Sabbath in Genesis, you know, in creation. God rested on the seventh day. But here, even before the Israelites get the 10 Commandments, is an example, again, of Sabbath, where 6 days they go out and gather enough. And if they gather too much, it rots, right? It gets all full of maggots. It's kind of graphic, the description. But on the 6th day, they were to gather twice as much, because there wouldn't be any on the 7th day. That was a day of rest, and they wouldn't have to go out and gather even. Here is a picture of God's provision, and the underlying theme of this story about Sabbath is that there's enough. Enough is a huge theme in Sabbath, because if we believe there is enough, we are willing to set aside our tasks for a day and rest, trusting that God will provide in 6 days worth of labor enough to feed us and shelter us for 7 days. And Sabbath is about reconnecting with the truth of the Old Testament, that God will provide, that God can be trusted, that there's enough. So it's a reconnecting. I work from my home pretty much about full time. My kids are in school now, so while they're gone, and a lot of times after they come home and they're doing homework, I'm again on the computer. But one of the things I do on Sabbath, which at our house starts at sundown Saturday and goes to sundown Sunday, is I turn off my computer. And so often during the week, my kids will say, hey, Mom, you know, can you help me? And I'll say, hang on, I'm on deadline. Hang on, I got to text my 500 Facebook friends, whatever. I am focused on the task. But when the computer is off, I can answer their questions. I am interruptible. And it's a day when I reconnect with them. I can look into their eyes. And now I connect with them during the week. I was studying for the Constitution test last night with my son. You know, I do spend time with them, obviously, during the week, but on Sunday, they know I'm available, and I can reconnect with them. Okay, so, and that's, again, an antidote for our isolation, is this reconnection that the Sabbath Simplicity brings us.